When Mia texted me at 11:47 p.m., I almost didn't open it. Not because I didn't care, but because I already knew what it was going to say. She hadn't replied to my messages all day. That meant something was wrong. And with Mia, wrong never meant small. Hey, are you awake? That was it. For words. No emojis. No sarcasm. No attitude. Just fragile. I stared at the screen for a long moment before typing back. Yeah. What happened? 3 dots appeared instantly, then disappeared, then appeared again, and then the message came through. They changed the locks. My chest tightened. I sat up in bed so fast my pillow hit the wall. What do you mean they changed the locks? My landlord. I was 2 months behind. I thought I had 1 more week. I went to grab groceries. Came back. Everything's inside. I'm sitting on the stairs. I didn't even think. I grabbed my keys. I'm coming. No, she replied instantly. It's fine. I'll figure something out. That's Mia. Always figuring something out. Always pretending she doesn't need help. But I know her better than anyone. We've been best friends since we were 12. Since middle school talent shows and failed science projects. Since she tripped on stage and I pretended to faint so everyone would laugh at me instead. She was there when my dad left. I was there when her mom got sick. She held me together when I thought I'd never recover. I held her together when she pretended she didn't need holding. So no, she wasn't sitting on those stairs alone. I pulled up to her apartment building 15 minutes later. She was exactly where she said she'd be. Sitting on the concrete steps, arms wrapped around her knees, a single suitcase beside her. Streetlight flickering above her like some tragic movie scene. She looked small, and that's what broke me. Mia has never looked small a day in her life. She heard my car and quickly wiped her face, standing up before I even stepped out. You didn't have to come, she said quickly, forcing a smile. Yeah, I did. She shrugged like it wasn't a big deal. Like her entire life wasn't currently locked behind a deadbolt. I'll crash at a motel or something. With what money? I asked gently. She didn't answer. Silence hit between us. Heavy. Embarrassed. Painful. I stepped closer. You can stay with me. She blinked. What? You can stay with me. She stared at me for 3 full seconds. And then she laughed. Actually laughed. Okay. That's not funny. I'm not joking. She stopped laughing. Her eyes searched my face like she was looking for the punchline. I'm serious, Mia. Pack whatever you need from that suitcase. You're coming home with me. She swallowed. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I have a couch. You hate when people touch your couch. I'll survive. She shook her head slowly. I can't just invade your space. You're not invading. You're surviving. That did it. Her chin trembled. Just slightly. She looked away quickly. I don't want you to feel responsible for me. You're not my responsibility, I said softly. You're my person. And something shifted in her eyes. Something fragile. Something unspoken. She finally nodded. Okay. That one word carried trust. Pride swallowed. Vulnerability exposed. And I silently promised myself I wouldn't let her regret it. The drive back to my place was quiet. Not awkward. Just heavy with everything she wasn't saying. When we got inside, she stood awkwardly near the door, like she didn't know if she was allowed to breathe. Shoes off, I said casually. She blinked. Why? My rules. And for the first time that night, she smirked. There she is, I said. She rolled her eyes but slipped her shoes off. I grabbed a blanket from the closet and tossed it on the couch. 5-star accommodations. Do I at least get breakfast included? Depends if you behave. She laughed softly. But when she sat down on the couch, I saw it again. The exhaustion, the defeat, the humiliation she was trying so hard to hide. I sat across from her. "Talk to me." She hesitated, then finally exhaled. "I lost my freelance client last month. I thought I'd find another fast. I didn't. I used my savings. Rent piled up. I was embarrassed to tell you. You think I judge you?" "No," she whispered. "I think I'd disappoint you. That hurt more than anything." "Mia," I said quietly, "you could never disappoint me." Her eyes filled again. She looked down at her hands. "I feel like I'm failing at everything." "You're not." "It feels like it." I moved closer. "You hit a rough chapter. That's not the whole story." She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I swear something passed between us in that moment that had never been there before. Not just friendship, not just comfort, something deeper, something dangerous. She looked away first. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For not laughing." I smiled slightly. "I'm not joking." And that became the theme of the night. Every time she doubted, every time she apologized, every time she acted like she was temporary. "I'm not joking." Around 2 a.m., she finally fell asleep on the couch. But I didn't. I stood in the doorway watching her, and I realized something terrifying. Letting her stay wasn't the risk. The risk was what it might turn into, because somewhere between the flickering streetlight and the way she looked at me when I said, "You're my person," something had already changed, and I wasn't sure we could go back. But maybe we weren't supposed to. If the story is already pulling you in, imagine what happens when living together starts blurring the lines between friendship and something neither of them is ready to admit. The first morning felt strange. Not bad, just different. I woke up to the smell of coffee, which was already unusual, because I never make coffee before 10 a.m. and definitely not on a Saturday. I walked into the kitchen half asleep, hair a mess, shirt wrinkled and froze. Mia was standing at my counter, wearing one of my hoodies, barefoot, hair tied up in a loose bun, like she had always belonged there. "Oh," she said, startled. "Sorry. I didn't mean to go through your cabinets. I couldn't sleep." "You found the coffee," I said slowly. She held up the mug like she'd accomplished something heroic. "I even used a coaster." I blinked. "You hate coasters." "Your rules," she shrugged. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't acting like a guest. She was acting careful. Too careful. Like every move she made was measured. Like she was afraid I'd change my mind. "You don't have to tiptoe," I said. "I'm not." "You alphabetized my spice rack." She hesitated. It was chaotic. I laughed for the first time in days. And just like that, the heaviness lightened a little. But not completely. Because under the small smiles and casual jokes, something else was building. Living together does that. It removes distance. And distance had always protected us. By day 3, we had a rhythm. She updated her portfolio at my dining table. I worked from my desk in the corner. We shared meals, shared quiet, shared space, too much space. And that's when the small things started feeling big. Like the way she'd lean over my shoulder to look at something on my laptop, close enough that I could feel her breath near my neck. Or the way she'd steal fries from my plate without asking. Or how she'd fall asleep watching movies and her head would slowly tilt until it rested against my shoulder. Before, those things were innocent. Now, they lingered. On the 4th night, it happened. We were watching some stupid reality show she insisted was educational. "It's not educational," I said. "It's psychological warfare," she argued. "It's people arguing over pool chairs. It's character study." She shifted on the couch, closer than usual. The lights were low. The room was warm, and at some point her leg brushed against mine. She didn't move it. Neither did I. Time slowed. The air thickened. "Can I ask you something?" she said quietly. "Always." She hesitated. "Why did you really let me stay?" I frowned slightly. "I told you." "No." She shook her head softly. "You said I'm your person. But that's not the whole truth." I swallowed, because she was right. It wasn't. The truth was, I'd been waiting for her to need me, not in a selfish way, but in a way that meant I could finally step forward instead of standing quietly beside her. "I let you stay," I said slowly, "because the idea of you sleeping in some motel room alone made me feel sick." She didn't look away. And because if something happened to you, and I could have prevented it." My voice trailed off. Her eyes softened. "You've always done that," she whispered. "Done what?" "Protected me." I smiled faintly. "Someone has to. I don't want to always be the one who needs protecting." "You're not." She shifted again, even closer now. Our knees pressed together fully. She didn't move. "I hate that you saw me at my worst," she admitted. "You think that was your worst? What else would it be?" I leaned back slightly. "Your worst would be if you stopped trying. If you stopped fighting. If you stopped being you." Her eyes shimmered in the dim light. "You really see me, don't you?" I didn't answer, because the way she was looking at me right then, that wasn't friendship. That wasn't 12 years of shared history. That was something raw, something terrifying. The show kept playing in the background, but neither of us was watching anymore. Her hand shifted slightly on the couch.
Brushed mine.
Electric. Neither of us pulled away. "Mia," I said quietly. "Yeah. If this gets complicated." She inhaled slowly. "It already is." Silence. Heavy. Real. Honest. And then her phone buzzed. We both flinched. The spell broke. She glanced at the screen, and her expression changed. "What?" I asked. "It's Ryan." Of course it was. Ryan. Her almost relationship from 3 months ago. The guy who wasn't ready for something serious. The guy who disappeared when her life got messy. "Why is he texting you?" I asked, unable to hide the edge in my voice. "He said he heard about the apartment." My jaw tightened. He heard. I might have mentioned it to a mutual friend. She read the message silently. "What does he want?" I asked. She hesitated. "He said I can stay at his place for a while." The room went cold. "He has 2 bedrooms," she added quickly. "It would just be temporary." Temporary. The word hit harder than it should have. "And you're considering it?" I asked. "I don't want to be a burden here." "You're not a burden. But I can feel it changing things." "It is changing things," I admitted. She froze. My heart pounded. I hadn't meant to say it out loud. "Changing how?" she asked carefully. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time in 12 years, I stopped protecting the friendship. "It's changing the way I look at you." Her breath caught. Silence wrapped around us. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't what?" "Don't risk us." "I'm not risking us," I said. "I'm being honest." She stood up suddenly. "This is why I didn't want to stay. Mia. I can't lose you. You're not going to. But what if we try something and it fails? And what if we don't try and regret it?" She looked torn, scared, vulnerable. "I just got evicted," she said. "My life is unstable. I can't add feelings to that." "You don't add feelings," I said quietly. "They were already there. That did it." Tears slipped down her face. Not dramatic, not loud, just silent honesty. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted. Neither do I. We stood there a few feet apart. Years of friendship. Months of suppressed tension. Days of living too close to ignore it. I don't want to go to Ryan's, she whispered. Then don't. But if I stay, her voice cracked. If you stay, I said softly, stepping closer. We figure it out, slowly, no pressure.
No labels.
And if it ruins everything? I reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Then at least we ruined it being honest. Her fingers tightened around mine. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. Love isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's two people standing in the middle of uncertainty and choosing not to walk away. She stepped closer, so close I could feel her heartbeat. You're not joking? She asked. I shook my head. Never about you. And this time, when the distance disappeared, neither of us pretended it was an accident. The kiss wasn't rushed.